OG, oh my! Hey, that's how I was planning to open this video with the start that OG had. My gosh, what he hit his first three threes for sure. He might have hit his first four. I can't remember where exactly he ended up missing one, but my gosh, that man was all over the place. Steals off passes, steals off inbounding, breakaway dunks, doing two-hand reverse dunks. He had the two-hand alley oop from Scotty Barnes, I think is who passed it up there. What a game! What a great game! I mean, it started out horrible. It was scary as hell. I was yelling at the TV saying, "We cannot lose to the second last place team in the league," and especially Jalen Green. Man, that guy makes me nuts. Maybe it's because of the Scotty Barnes competition last year for Rookie of the Year. I don't know what it is, but there's something that rubs me the wrong way about that guy. Anyway, we pulled it out. We pulled it out. 116 to what? 109. Yeah, 116, 109. Mr. Freddie Van Vliet with 32. But OG, 27. How many steals? 3 steals, 1 block. Only 1 assist, though. But yeah, 10 rebounds. I mean, this guy was all over the place. OG. I love when that guy gets going. This is what we need. We maybe need Pascal to be out for a little bit. Let's get OG's usage up so that we can have the true trifecta. Pascal, Freddie V, and Mr. OG Ananobi. And the only reason I tilt my head there saying Freddie Van Vliet is that, the last couple of weeks when he was out, I have openly said on a couple of these videos that do we make a trade? Do we trade him and a bunch of picks and whoever we need to throw over there for salary? Um, sort of beyond precious. I mean, it's funny you see Thad in a game like today and even Otto Porter, who we'll talk about in a second, contributing. You don't necessarily want to give one of those guys up. I don't know who exactly. Maybe like a Malachi Flynn or somebody could be thrown in there, although 2 guards they maybe wouldn't be interested in. But it seems that with Scotty and Pascal bringing the ball up the floor, and we've got Delano Banton, who couldn't buy a three today, but he did make some nice hustle plays. Had a couple of those layups. I don't know why he doesn't just do those bursts of speed into the paint that he was successful with a couple times today. Although he does seem to fumble the ball. Anyway, obviously he's a work in progress. But man, start practicing your threes, Delano, because they leave you wide open. Even Scotty, there was one where he was so wide open, he hesitated and thought to himself, if I don't take this open three, my teammates may not pass it to me anymore. And then, yikes, he clanked it off the right side. It almost even hit where the little brace, is attached to the backboard. So, oh, anyway, lots to talk about in this game. Otto Porter Jr. I just mentioned. This guy, again, I was crying, complaining. My son was watching the game with me today, and I was, this Otto Porter, man, this guy's got to get going. What the heck is wrong with him? Missed a three again, missed a long two. Did have a decent little, it was, kind of off the elbow, though, sort of in the middle, but still in front of the free throw line. Had a nice little, one-hander. Started to get some defensive steals, I noticed, and even some couple hustle rebounds where I was thinking, all right, maybe this guy's useful. I think maybe the energy of the Raptors is infectious. He's starting to feel it. He's starting to get acclimatized. He may still in his mind think of himself as a Golden State Warrior. I don't know. So yeah, that's maybe going on. But all of a sudden, Freddie finds him for three. Then it might have been the immediate next play. Not sure if there was a play in between, but I think it was the next play. They start feeling like he's got it, and Scotty Barnes hesitates for a minute. Dishes him a nice little unexpected pass by the D because it looked like Scotty. He loves that misdirection. He's sort of facing body this way, but knew Otto Porter was open and going to his spot, almost the same spot. He was a little bit further, I guess, around. He was more centered on the first hookup for three, but bam, back-to-back threes. Sweet. Otto Porter giving you some props there, buddy. My man, nice. And it was good timing, too, because it was starting to, get some pressure from the Rockets again. And, yeah, great effort by him. So great to see. Obviously, Thad getting some minutes. Um, let's go. Gary Trent wasn't quite having the game today. Made a couple of decent passes, but anyway, yeah, I'd like to see him a little more consistent. That's the Raptors' biggest problem is really just consistency. We all know that they've got the talent. We all know that they can do it. They can certainly end up, at this pace with the intermittent play of whoever's going to step up. We should be fifth, but what I really would love to see, and I think what us Raptors fans would like to see, is their talent unleashed, and let's get some consistent points. Let's get some consistent buckets. Let's get the 3-pointers going. Let's not. Anyway, I think Fred, every once in a while, we're going to have to put up with him getting stuffed and blocked, but, Gary Trent Jr., a little more consistency would be great. OG playing more like this more often would be great. Fred seems to have it going on. Obviously, we think Pascal seems to have it going on as well. He used to be a little bit like the DeMar DeRozan-esque, mental games. If they were televised, he's panicking, not able to show up, throwing the ball away, all kinds of crazy plays, dribbling way too aggressively into the defense. He seems to have that mostly under control. Still fouls a little too often, and offensive fouls a little too often. But still, hey, I'll take it. The guy's playing, top five top five Pascal Siakam. It's worth it if he gets a few offensive fouls for sure. So yeah, he's solid. Van Vliet's playing solid. OG, if we could just get Scotty, back to form, and I think he's going to get there. People are talking about his little ankle injury. Does seem to kind of tweak it every once in a while. I don't know if he's transitioning because they're definitely trying to still, even with Van Vliet back, they're having Scotty bring the ball up because they love, Van Vliet off the ball. Obviously, he and Kyle Lowry used to play all the time that way, and certainly it shows that it works because he is probably our best 3-point shooter. I mean, not probably, statistically he is, and I think that, Gary Trent could step up and eventually be that, and if Otto Porter gets maybe a little more usage, he could possibly do that too. But anyway, so yeah, really, we just our starting five, if they would be more consistent. But then it's the Chris Bouchers and the Precious Achuas. There was some talk that Precious Achua had a conversation this morning after practice with Nick Nurse. Might have been early afternoon, but before the game anyway. About getting him more minutes and wanting to play him more and trusting in him in his abilities and everything, and then he doesn't. I mean, he had a couple of nice plays. I'm not saying that he's horrible, but again, bruising his way in a little too often, sort of like Pascal used to. So again, I guess we should see that there will be a progression, to sort of limit that going forward. But guy's a big dude. I mean, I know a little bit he can't help it. If I was trying to defend him and he plowed into me, I'm sure I'd go flying over too and he'd get a foul. But needs to be a little more under control. His shot seems to have disappeared. Towards the end of last year, he had the 3-point going. That can't seem to be found. Anyway, and he's lost the handle a few times too. Like he's going all over the place, crazy, losing the ball. Even on the play where he injured himself to go out, like. Sure, it was awkward, but I think it was partly because he was awkward. Like he was in a weird body angle position as he kind of came around to regroup, as if he realized he was too close to the basket before he decided what he was going to do, and then man, just landed. Yeah, strange. It actually looked almost though like he landed on his left foot, weird, because his ankle kind of went. But you could see in the slow motion replay that it was his right foot. I guess that he actually hurt more and definitely didn't get up, but. If we could get a Boucher and Precious Achua, coming off the bench consistently, Thad, we'll take what we can get from him. He gets a few open looks, from the corner for 3. Hits them once in a while. I don't know what his percentage is at. It's probably in the low 30s because I notice he's missed a few of them this year again, but probably as he gets going, hopefully he'll be able to hit those. And, Koloko, I don't know if Coloco, I guess he will come off the bench, I would imagine, when Pascal comes back. Who knows? Maybe they'll sit. Yeah, who would they sit? OG instead? That doesn't make much sense. Gary Trent Jr. Possibly put OG at the two guard. No, they'll probably have Coloco come off the bench. That's not bad. We hit him with our, Pascal, OG, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and Scotty. That's quite a first punch. And then if you've got someone like Coloco coming off the bench, that's probably just going to confuse the hell out of the other team's second units because that guy wants to block everything. I mean, he pretty much fouled out of the game today. He didn't foul out completely. He ended up with 5, but he didn't come back into the game after they sat him when he had 5. And man, I love that guy's energy. I mean, he's like I know he's from the same, country region. Maybe there's something in the water there that gets these guys hyped because Pascal, certainly when he came onto our team, that really was his main modus operandi was, energy, energy, energy off the bench. Couldn't shoot that well. Obviously, he could get in the mix for rebounds and putbacks and things like that, but it was really just an energy guy running back and forth. He was, he'd be able to get back on D and still be able there to try and help contribute on the offense with a putback or a second chance or even just an offensive rebound and kicking it out to whoever, DeRozan um, or Kyle Lowry back in those days, Jonas Valanciunas or whatever. But yeah, man, Coloco, same story. This guy is just all over the place, man. He's like an octopus. Like his hands are just constantly moving around. He's if he's not blocking the shot, he's redirecting it. It's awesome to see. It's fantastic. In fact, he even got mentioned in the rankings this week on ESPN. Specifically said that with Pascal out, and rookie Coloco, I'm gonna have to keep his energy and efforts going to help the Raptors maintain. I think we were 8th. Did we go down to 11th? Something like that. Anyway, very nice to see. Always hyper, always exciting, always hyped to come off a win, even if it's against the second last place team. I think it's more exciting this time because it was truly at the beginning feeling like, oh boy, what is going on? Are we gonna lose to the Rockets? Please don't let us lose to the Rockets. Even without Pascal Siakam, there's no excuse. They could have me in the rotation and we should be able to beat the Rockets. Don't get me wrong. I'll do mostly passing. But yeah, so got my top 5 plays of the game, and then we'll mention best player, and we'll wrap this thing up. So my number 5 play. I mean, there were a bunch of great steals today. Fred VanVleet even just ripped it out of Porter's hands at one point. Man, that was great because again, momentum shifter. But OG, there were a couple plays. One of them, he stole it and passed it to Gary Trent Jr. for a nice little easy, layup. But there was another steal. OG, just the guy, it was all over the place. Gets in there, steals the ball, and it allowed for him on a complete fast break, solo dunk. And so OG, we love the dunks. And today was the OG's game, so we're going to give OG number 5 with that steal that led to a dunk. I think that was in the end of the second quarter. Anyway, that's my number 5. My number 4 play of the game has to go to Freddie VanVleet. I mean, thank goodness, he was playing the way he was tonight because, again, it could have slipped away. Even himself, he had a couple of sloppy plays towards the end of the game where I was starting to get nervous. One of them he dribbled in, and I don't know if it got tipped, but he tried to do a pass sort of under the basket, one of those wraparound ones, and the ball went flying up. That was not great. And another little, I think there was a little flub play. What did I mention here? Oh yeah, sorry. He did like a little weak floater. That's what it was. He went in, it was a set defense, and he kind of tried to go around through the key, and the floater didn't even make it to the basket. Again, possibly was tipped, but it didn't look like it was tipped. But then he got himself wide open. I believe it was Scotty Barnes that hit him with the pass, but his 7th 3-pointer of the game, which ended up putting it at 109 to 103, I believe. We got a 6-point lead there from Freddie hitting the three. Steady Freddie coming through at number 4. My number 3 play of the game involved another steal by OG. And by the way, can OG get a call going his way? Anyway, sorry, I meant to talk about that earlier. I mean, my gosh, this guy's playing so hard, going to the rack multiple times, definitely getting touched up, and no whistle at all. And yet, on the other end, he seems to get a call every time if he even just blows on somebody. Oh, sorry. With OG, I should be careful. Even if he just slightly touches somebody, he's getting called for the foul. And but anyway, this particular play, my number 3 play of the game, was an OG steal. He threw it up to Thad Young, and then Thad got it to Fred VanVleet for another 3-pointer. It was fantastic. Sorry, I was checking to see if I wrote down what the score was after that, but sadly I didn't. So anyway, yeah, but you guys remember the play. Watch the highlights. Again, still trying to figure out whether or not I'm allowed to show highlights on here or not. If I could ever figure out if I'm allowed to, and then somehow figure out how to, that'll be a nice feature that I'll look forward to adding. But yeah, that's my number 3. My number 2 play also involved. It seems like I'm just talking about these two guys over and over again, but there was a 3-on-2 break, and it was Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., and OG again coming down the floor, and Fred alley-ooped it to OG, which is so great to see too, because weirdly, not just Fred, the Raptors seem to have a little bit of a problem with alley-oops. Again, maybe I'm watching more Raptor games obviously than any other team in the league. Maybe I'm just seeing them miss them when they do miss them, but it always feels like other teams come in here and they're lobbing the ball all over the place over us. Not so much this year with Koloko when he's in the lineup, but it's it gets embarrassing when we're trying to do these lobs and either the pass is in the right spot, they've jumped too soon, they jumped too late, they can't reach it because it wasn't on point. Anyway, this time he nailed it. OG had the dunk, and that tied the game at 54-54. So really, not only was it an exciting play to break out and got the crowd into it, but it actually, helped get the momentum swung back into the Raptors' favor because after that first quarter, especially, my God, Houston was, killing us. Even I almost had Gary Trent Jr.'s 3 at the end of the first quarter because it actually helped, kill some of the point divide that we were suffering at the end of that first quarter. But anyway, that's not it. My number 2 is OG with the alley-oop dunk from Fred VanVleet. And my number 1 play overall, I debated it, but they showed it enough on the highlights. It was a sweet play when it happened. OG Anunoby, the 2-handed dunk. He was on a mission today. It seemed like, right from the beginning of the game, like I said, he was hitting his threes, and he just did. The Raptors love this play anyway, where they sort of curl from, again, I don't know, sort of the slot area on a hockey rink. I don't know what they call that in basketball. But yeah, they love to kind of curl. They're out at the top of the 3-point line, and then they do their little dribble passing off out there, and OG loves to get that ball and try and curl around, and then just run down sort of past the opposite side elbow and then back in towards the basket. And man, he 2-handed stuffed it in there so hard, so powerful, in their face. It was awesome. OG Anunoby gets my play of the game. And let's just keep going. OG Anunoby, also I'm naming him the player of the game today, even though Fred VanVleet had a fantastic one. And he is the field marshal out there, but we got to give OG some encouragement. We got to get OG to, continue to dominate. OG is like a race car in the red, man. This guy, we need to, it's funny, around the U.S. media especially, they talk about OG once in a while when he has a good game, and particularly Low. Oh my gosh, suddenly his first name's popping out of my head. But he has the Low Post podcast. Oh come on, man! was going to say Kevin Lowe, but it's not Kevin Lowe. Anyway, he does love OG, and I've heard him say more than once that watch out, man, this guy's going to break out soon. And hopefully this game is the beginning of all that happening. So yeah, OG, I'm giving him the player of the game. Freddie Boy got it a couple ago. So yeah, let's give it to OG. And that's it. Thank you for sticking around. Please like, subscribe, and hit a comment. I'd love to hear a comment. I've been begging for a comment. I've been considering putting a comment in there myself, but I thought that might be lame. And Mr. Beast for President. Thanks, guys. Love you. See you on Friday.